All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great
Good
pleasure
afternoon.
to be here this afternoon, even to facilitate this training. I'm here to speak on reskilling, job opportunities, entrepreneurship, and getting back to a new job. Larry Lewis is my name, and I'm a lecturer at the University of Dundee in Scotland. So my outline for today is I'll have some few definitions. Then we'll look at some opportunities in the new normal. I mean, that's the terminology that's in vogue of late after the pandemic. Then I will now zoom into how to overcome the economic challenges that have been induced by COVID-19. Basically looking at how to rethink our strategies, how to reskill, what we need to leverage on, and what the opportunities available out there for us to get back into a new job. Then I will take us through a small economic exercise, which will be a kind of brain teaser to probe our thought process. Then we'll round up. So to start with, I want to look at when we talk about reskilling, it's also used side by side with upskilling. Now, the difference between reskilling and upskilling is that in the case of upskilling, it's more about improving, learning something new to do better within the space where you are, whether you're working or you are doing business or you're providing a particular service. It's a process of learning new skills, right? In order to be better where you are. But when we talk about reskilling, it's about learning something entirely new from what you're doing in order to transition to a particular new field or a new job. So possibly you're coming from the healthcare background and you want to move into IT. And so moving into IT will need that, okay, you identify what are the things that resonate with me within the IT space. I now find out what I need to do to be relevant there, and you go for that training. So the process of doing that is what reskilling is all about. And why is reskilling coming into the picture? It is because the COVID-19 has fast-tracked our evolution into the tech world by about 10 years fast. Most people did not think that they will be doing conferences online, meetings online, holding lectures online, even before as at the end of 2019. But COVID-19 fast-tracked everything. So because of that, some jobs are losing their relevance. Some are taking the stage. So because of that, we need to identify what are the things that will make us relevant to the new way of doing things and reskill. So that is why reskilling is of importance. Now, this quote here is from Mary Kay Ash, and she states that one of the secrets of success is to refuse to let temporary setbacks to defeat us. Now, COVID-19 has really destabilized a lot of people, a lot of businesses, even economies of the world. It has caused setbacks across the divide, whether you're individual, corporate entity, country, everyone has been hit by the effect of COVID-19. But do we stay there? Do we allow that setback to pull us back from actually being all we can be? So this quote is just like a nudge to say that we should not we should refuse to allow what COVID-19 has done and brace up, because there are still more grounds to cover, which is why I want to open up us to what are the opportunities that are available in the new normal, the opportunities available. we look at a kind of a dichotomy here. In the pre-COVID era, we had high street stores. That was the name of the game. I mean, you want to buy something, you go to the high street and you go and buy it. But post-COVID, the Amazons of this world, the AliExpress of this world, the Shein of this world is now taking over what we know as high street. When we consider healthcare delivery, right, except for major stuff where people need to go to the hospital, right, telemedicine is actually going to take over the space of healthcare delivery. When we consider pre-COVID movement of goods and services and stuff like that, now you have enhanced supply chain, non-contact delivery, tracking your stuff online. People come to deliver things. You buy something from the store far away from you, and it's delivered to your doorstep. That is because technology has been incorporated to movement of goods and services. Before COVID, right, it was more of we go to the class, we go for conferences, we go for lectures at home. I'm sorry, in the institution. That is the traditional mode. But post-COVID, you now have e-learning, you have online course delivery, you have the LinkedIn learning platform, you have Coursera learning platform, you have Udemy. They are now taking the center stage. And even individuals who have been able to reinvent themselves and become thought leaders within a particular area or specialization are now creating courses, right, to help people. So the normal conventional way of education is changing because of what we now have, driven by technology. And of course, food supplies, except for the conservative old people who will still like to go to the store, right? You can actually order food stuff online now because food is an essential commodity. Food, healthcare, housing, they're all essential, but food is number one. People now order stuff online and it is delivered right at their doorstep. That is the space that we are in now. Those are the opportunities. Those are some of the myriad of opportunities that is now available. But what do we do with this, knowing that this is evolving and it's not going to go back? We will not go back to what it was before COVID. It will only continue to evolve. So how do you position yourself to be relevant in the bigger scheme of things? So the next thing I want to talk about is how can we or how can you overcome the economic challenges that COVID-19 has, as it were, produced or caused to individuals or organizations? And I believe it's more of individuals now. I conceptualize this thing like is a four quadrant. The process is to rethink, reskill, leverage on some of your strength and network, and now take the opportunities in order to transition from pre-COVID era, loss of job or loss of profession, and still become relevant in the present scheme of things. All right, so let's take them one by one. When we talk about rethinking, sometimes you need to take a back seat from the noise that is around in order to evaluate or to find out, am I in the right space? What do I need to do to evolve? Can I change the narrative? Can I reintroduce myself? Can I rebrand myself? Right? This is the rethinking strategy. So the first thing you need to do is to fight your biases. Now, there is a tendency for us, because people refuse change. So there is a tendency for us to be skewed towards a particular lifestyle, a particular way of doing things. But if you decide to look at what is the bias that you have towards the way you work or what you can actually do, then this will give you the opportunity, right, to be pragmatic and realistic with the way things are supposed to be done, especially with respect to moving on or getting a new job or moving into a new enterprise. The second thing that's under rethinking is that you need to you change the approach, right? I mean, we don't expect that you will get a different result. There is this saying that says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expect to have a different outcome. So don't use the same strategy or the same approach every time. So what that simply means is that you need to rethink your approach and look at, can I do this thing better? This outcome, that this particular process that I've been using, what do I need to do to make it better? Or what do I need to do to change the narrative and position myself for better opportunities? Then there is a need to separate our actions from objectives, separating actions from objectives. Now, a practical example is this. Someone wants to become maybe a product owner in the IT world, right? Or he wants to become a Scrum Master in the IT world, and is coming from a background of maybe an administrator or administrative assistant. The objective is to become a Scrum Master. The action is not working towards becoming a Scrum Master, but devising ways, what is required of someone who has to become a Scrum Master. The first thing is to get the training, do the exam, pass it. Now pitch yourself, whether on LinkedIn or job sites or platforms where they are looking for Scrum Master. So the strategy can now be divided into maybe 4 or 5 things that needs to be done to achieve this objective. And so one is pragmatic with the way you're rethinking the process. Then question your objectives. Is it because somebody is doing it, or because this thing aligns with my big picture, right? Does it align with my big picture? And the next one is, sometimes you don't need to go with the flow. You don't have to go with the flow or deliberately do nothing just to see what will happen. And you can decide also to change the rules of the game. If something has been this way, why can't it be another way? I will give you a practical example. You know, I heard something yesterday about he that is diligent in his work, he shall not stand before mere men, but stand before kings. And this person that was talking, he said that, why do you want to stand before kings? Why don't you become the king yourself? So if the rule has been standing before kings, there is nothing bad in becoming the king. So what it means is, for example, depending on whichever area that one is, if this has been the way things are delivered here, what stops me from changing it and changing the own narrative and create a better value? A practical example that we all know is a case of Steve Jobs, when he changed the whole experience about telecommunication. Now, he's not the one that made the telephone, right? But he wanted to create a cult, a kind of a community, a clan of people who have an experience with using telecommunication. And so that was what informed the basis of the Apple, that there is an experience around the use of this phone. And he changed it from normal receive and call to having an experience. And so you can decide to change the narrative in the way things are done because you want to evolve from where you are now and create something new because people want change, right? And one important thing about rethinking is that, as human beings, we go through about 3 stages in life. When we are born, we start by being dependent on our parents or on our guardian. By the time we move to teenage years or young adult age, we want to be independent. And so we move to independence phase of life. But what most people fail to do is to transition from that independence to the final phase, which is interdependence. That is leveraging on my strength and your strength in order to create something that is big, right? And so collaboration is the name of the game in the world today. You will see mergers, you will see acquisition, you will see people coming together and doing something big. And so in rethinking, you may need to consider who has this particular strength in this area, who is gifted in this thing, right? You collaborate together and you do something new. And so that is why collaboration is very, very important in this new normal. Okay, so that is the first part of that quadrant. The next part is the reskilling, right? Which is for you to train yourself or submit yourself to training in order to become relevant in a new field or in a new profession, a new career, or in a new business. So what are the strategies that can be employed, right, to reskill? The first thing is to identify by defining your goal. Because if you don't set the goal post, you cannot score the goal. So you need to know where you're heading to, right? So define the goal and be adaptable to the evolving world. Now, if we are watching a football match, everybody wants to score in the goalpost. Either side, whether side A or B, want to score in the goalpost. But there are several ways to score in that goalpost. You can go from the left flank or from the right, from the center back, or you can volley. You can do different things just to score in that goalpost. So while the goal is well defined, right, it is of essence to be adaptable to the different strategies that can be coming along the line. Be dynamic in the way we approach it. And so having a definite goal is very, very, very important. It's just like somebody who wants to travel from London to maybe Manchester, and he does not know his way. Even if you're going to use your sat nav, the sat nav will request for where are you going? What is the postcode of where you're going? And it will now plot it. Now, if peradventure, while you're driving, you miss the turn that you're supposed to take, it will do a detour, recalculate that, okay, you've missed way, but you can now go this way and still get to that point. So that is why being flexible and adaptable to changing world is very, very important. Keeping the goal posts well defined. The next thing is to now, after defining the goal, is to conduct a career or personal SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So you want to find out, right? Before COVID, this is the career I was doing. Am I still relevant? What is going to happen in the next 5 years in my field? Will it still be able to service my personal goals? Will it still be relevant in the big scheme of things? You want to carry out an analysis and be sincere to yourself. The next thing is to conduct career weakness. Is this thing going to phase out? Is this thing going to be taken over by technology? What I'm doing now, will I still be marketable, right, in the next 5 years? Will I be marketable in the next 1 year? If not, then it's required of us to now start thinking, what do I need to shift to, right? What opportunities are there? Even if I'm in the, for example, if I'm in the healthcare sector or educational sector or tourism sector, what is the new thing that is going to be relevant in my field post-COVID, right? So some of the things that can be done is to do a search. Like if somebody is in educational sector now, you can decide to write like higher education or IoT in higher education, artificial intelligence in higher education, virtual reality in higher education in the next 5 years. Now, whatever comes up are indicators to tell you what is going to be happening in that career at that time. You can do a search on real estate in the next 5 years. Today, we have what we call prop tech. That means technology in property development. You want to find out how will you be relevant? Somebody who is maybe a real estate agent or advisor, what will be my job like? What will my job be like in the next 5 years? These are things that you are doing SWOT analysis. What is going to be the threat to me being able to earn in this my career now? What do I need to do about it? And that is why this conducting the career SWOT analysis is very, very important. The next thing is to identify the skills needed for relevance. Now, after doing this comprehensive SWOT analysis, you can now take a step further to find out what are the skills that will make me relevant, or if I'm going to have a complete career detour, what do I need to move to? Which ones are going to be relevant? Am I positioned for it? Am I well equipped for it? What do I need to do? Because if you say that this thing will take me 12 months or 2 years to go for the training, the truth is, if you don't go for the training, 2 years will come and you'll still be where you are. So it's better, they say that he that is down needs fear no fall, right? So it's better to just accept that this is my career snapshot now. This is my financial snapshot, but this is where I'm looking at. And so that's why those things need to be identified. And you now probe. The next thing is to probe into your area of interest and build the critical skills that will be relevant in that area. So probe into your area of interest and build the skills is very, very important. Now, the next thing after probing is to now find out, how do I build this thing? And this is where mentors and coaches are very, very important. A mentor is someone who has gone through that path that you want to go and is able to tell you that there are the landmines on this path. Take this navigation here, go through this path, and you get to where you're going, right? They shorten the duration or the period that it will take you to get to the goal that you have defined. And so a session of 1 hour, 2, 3 with a mentor, a coach will fast track your journey towards getting to that goal that you have redefined for yourself. And after getting all that, you have everything at your arsenal now. The next thing is to start anyhow. Hit it. Now, I'll give myself as a practical example. Now, I have the gifting, right, of being a life coach, of being someone who can help you to identify where you are, what you are supposed to be doing, how to unleash your potentials. I just know that there is this gifting there. But I felt that in this world that we are in, right, you cannot just tell somebody that you have the gift. You have to be validated. So I decided to go for the training to certify me for this thing. And I also, apart from going for the training, there is the economic side of building a business, around that enterprise, around that calling, apart from the fact that I'm lecturing. And I felt that, okay, this is how they do this business. This is how they do this thing. When I was to test the waters, I set up all the tools, the Calendly of this world, the Zoom, pay for Zoom account, did so many things, right? And I got my first client. And it was interesting that the first client led to the next one and next to the next one. But if I didn't take that bold step that, okay, I now have all this information, I've gone through the training. If you don't pitch yourself out there, nobody will say, where are you? Right? There's this wise African saying that says that if you do not say, here I am, nobody will say, who are you? And so that is why you need to now move to start. You need to start, all right? So the third side of the quadrant is to leverage on the things that you already have, which you think you don't have. Each one of us, we have soft skills, we have hard skills. So the leveraging strategies is to leverage on what you already have. Because by the time you do a personal reality test, assessment, you brainstorm on your own self, you can determine your soft skills, because those soft skills like empathy, emotional intelligence, being able to listen, coordinating people, these are things that are soft skills. They are not things that you go to school to learn. They are inherent in us, but they are things that are like ingredients that are needed to make the recipe really nice. And so you need to determine them, because these soft skills will be coming to play in your transition from wherever you are now to the new job, right? So if you are someone that knows how to listen, someone who is good at organization, someone who is good at leading, right? Someone who is good in putting things in order, these are inherent skills. These are soft skills, right? You need to determine them and amplify them, because these are things that are needed to make the wheel of progress in organizations, in businesses, to move faster. So when they see someone who is well organized, see someone who can lead people, right? That is how you can be pitched to be a good organizer, a good leader. And you can also try to look back in maybe 5 years, 10 years. Where have you been able to use these big skills, which is the next thing about break down your big wins. After identifying these soft skills, there are times that you have exhibited these things and it has led to some big wins. Break them down, document them. They are things that can be put in your profile in the process of pitching for another job, because these are things that people, leaders, corporate heads, these are things that they're looking for. Then the next thing is to identify what do you need to leverage on. Identify what you do naturally. You see, there are some things that we know how to do naturally. It just comes naturally to us and we don't see it as a big deal, but it's a big deal for another person, right? You can also get public opinion about your strength, about the things that you know how to do, because what people say, right, especially those ones that are close to you, those ones that you understand you very well, you will be able to harness them and then identify, acknowledge, and polish your hard skills, because these are things that will now be very relevant as you are transitioning into the new job. Then recognize what you do what you truly love doing, and act. After all this, the next thing is to now identify, which is the fourth quadrant, is what are the work opportunities that are now open for exploration as we are in the post-COVID era. Some of the work opportunities that are open for exploration now are delivery service work, because that is movement of goods and services will continue till the world ends. Construction work, video game tech development. When we talk about telemedicine, people are going to be needed to develop technical solutions. Today, you have an avalanche of mobile apps that are emerging on a daily basis. You can decide to learn coding. COVID-19 is like flu. It's going to be here for a while. And so COVID-19 testers are needed. Contact testers are needed. Those who produce face mask, those who produce different variants of it are needed. Then course creation is big now. The course creation industry in the edtech world is about $33 billion in that field alone. and it is spreading like wildfire. You will see somebody will say that my online course is this much and it pays this. So right where you are in your home, you can curate content, right, about what you are skilled at that people need, right, and create course for it. And even you can become the course creator for thought leaders, because there are some people who know how to, who are thought leaders, who are gifted in things, but they don't know how to create, how to, transform their knowledge to become useful for others. So you can step in and say that I can help you to create this course, and you make money from that, right? Online portal developers is going to be the intern in across different industries. So these are different work opportunities that are now open for exploration. My next slide is talking about the bigger picture. Now, before now, we've talked about ourselves, how to transition to new job, how to build ourselves, how to reposition ourselves. But the truth of the matter is this:
Mr.
enterprise.
Lewis,
Yes, sir.
before you continue,
Okay.
I forgot to remind you that we have to take a break.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you feel it's time we take the break now, or?
Yeah, we can take a break now.
Okay.
How many minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So
okay.
If we can take a 10-minute break now, then when we come back.
So we'll come back at 1:20.
Yep.
All right, great.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you. I hand you over back to Mr. Lewis.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. All right. So the questions can continue to be dropped. I will take them after we finish. So before we went on break, I just moved into the aspects of enterprise and entrepreneurship. Now, nobody knew that COVID-19 was going to hit the world. And it has made a lot of people to think about the way things are done, what they need to do to hedge themselves against the risk of losing job or things like this. This is why even as we are moving into new jobs or creating new enterprise, we must find a way to maximize the opportunities that are before us. This is why I included this portion in this presentation this afternoon, which is about building enterprise and running entrepreneurship. Now, according to the Startups USA, entrepreneurship is defined as a process by which individuals or a group of individuals exploit a commercial opportunity, right? Either by bringing a new product or process to the market, or by substantially improving an existing good or service or method of production. Now, if you check out these things that are highlighted here, it's about exploiting a commercial opportunity. What that means is that not all opportunities are commercial in nature. Now, when we talk about commercial value of something, it's about if you are to put a value of, say, £1 on a product or service, how many people we actually pay for that product or service? And will it be a one or something that they will be getting every time? Now, two examples which I discovered recently is about the subscription model, which is what many businesses or enterprises are using now. Rather than have this mentality of, I want to have it now, but now spreading that payment in form of subscriptions, it makes it easy for the people to buy into it and also create a vehicle or a system for the provider of that solution or service to have continuous cash flow coming into their enterprise. And so that is about exploiting a commercial opportunity. Now, what are you trying to do is to bring something new, a new product, a new service, or a new process, a new way of doing things, or a new system into the market that is valuable to that marketplace. So that talks about niche, or that talks about identifying the area that you want to provide that service to. And the process is generally organized through a new organization, say a startup. So for example, you're working now, you have steady flow of income, right? And you may think that, yes, this thing will continue. For most people that lost their jobs at the COVID, they thought the thing will continue. But while moving back into the new job now, right? Or you have gone to reskill, you have now gotten a job. The best thing is to start putting something aside that will fuel this new enterprise, right? While you're working, while you're doing something, start creating something like a sunk fund somewhere that will help you to develop the enterprise. Or, like I said in the earlier slide, collaborate with others of like minds in order to create something new that will be sustainable in the long run. So that even though if something like this were to happen again, you will not be totally cut off economically or financially, but you will have created something that will still be able to fuel or service your needs. So that is what this is all about. Now, the diagram that we have here is a very popular diagram that was produced by the person of Robert Kiyosaki. And he made it into 4 quadrants. That the top left is the employee, lower left is the self-employed person, then the business owner is the top right, and investor is the lower right. Now, there's nothing bad in being in any of the quadrants, but remaining there is a function of where you are. The right side of this quadrant, which is the business owner or investor, is the best place to be. But the fact that somebody is an employee, whether you're earning very massive sums monthly, it does not stop you from actually transitioning or playing in the big league on the other side. And what does that mean, right? While you're earning, you can still be separating something out, right, to create a system that can be on subscription base. Like, for example, children who like toys, right? The children will always like toys. Women will always use different cosmetics. Men will always shave, right? Now, if you decide to create a system that ensures that these things that women need or these things that men need can be delivered to their house on a monthly basis, depending on their budget, right? Maybe about £10 or £5, wherever it is, right? And this £5 is coming steadily to your account because of that kind of system that you have created. You will be an employee and still be playing in that right side of this quadrant, right? Even if you are a self-employed person, that means you own your own business. Maybe you have a retail store somewhere, or you have a food store, or whatever it is, you're offering a legal service somewhere, right? You can start putting some of the profits to invest, because investment, imagine, for example, if you had to have maybe 1% of a company like Microsoft or a company like Apple, or even Virgin Atlantic that is in the UK, if you were to have just 1% of that, you can imagine what that would mean for you. So it's about playing and being strategic with what is available to us. Why? Because you are trying to edge yourself against anything that can happen to this thing that you're doing now. So while we transition into new job, right, while we leverage on the opportunities that COVID-19 has pushed out to the world, right, we also need to be strategic and hedge ourselves against any form of risks that may come up again in the future. So this is why this particular diagram is very, very important to us today. So, earlier I said that I'm going to take us through an economic exercise. So for us that are here, I can see that we have about 12 participants in the house, excluding myself. Here is the exercise I want us to do. Now, right where we are now, can we think of just 3 problems that you are facing personally at the moment? 3 things, just 3, like you have a challenge in this area, you have a challenge in this area, or this is your challenge. Just let's go through this exercise. Think of 3 things that is a problem for you, that you would like it to be solved. Have we done that? All right.
Yes.
Okay. The next thing is think of 3 problems that your family is facing. 3 challenges that if you have your way, you will get it solved for your family. If you have done that, the next thing is where you live. Let's say you live in London, or you live in a community, wherever you are living, right? Can you identify some of the problems since you have been living there? Have you seen something that you feel this thing can be done better? Can you identify 3 within where you are living? Maybe you pass somewhere and you see that they're always dropping refuse in this place, and sometimes somebody is always dropping something, or children have a challenge with this. Whatever the challenge is, can you think of 3 things around where you live that is a problem? Yeah. Then the next thing is think of the United Kingdom, whether it is England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, anywhere. Do you know of 3 problems that the country is facing at the moment, and you know that they need solution for it? This exercise is very, very important. It's going to make us to think, to know how to brainstorm. After doing that one for the nation, now let's go to Europe. Can you identify 3 things or 3 problems, 3 challenges that Europe is facing now, and they need a solution for it? When you have done that, let's now think of the world. The world today. Think of 3 things that the world is facing, and they need a solution to it. The world needs a solution to 3 things that you can think of. That is the end of this exercise. Now, from yourself to your family, to your community, to the country, to the continent, and to the world, you have been able to find 3 things that are challenges. Now, the question I want to ask us is this: in all these different value chains that we have identified that have problems or challenges, which one of them do you see yourself being a player to solve there? Which one can you find a solution? Which one do you think, if you collaborate with Mr. A or Mrs. A or company B, if you reach out to this place, this is what will happen, it will be solved? If you can do that, you will have been able to create something that people are looking for. Now, if your thought level is still at yourself, that is, you're only thinking about the 3 problems that you have, you are going to be limited in your influence in the bigger scheme of things. But if your thought level is at the level of what is these 3 challenges in the UK and how I can solve it, then you have positioned yourself to be a king or standing in the presence of kings, because solving it will give you the visa or passport to get there. So while the world is trying to come back to normal, while everyone has lost their jobs and there are different challenges, those challenges demand solutions. If you're able to solve them, the number of people that challenge affects will determine the value that will come our way. And this is the economic exercise I want us to go through, that as we're speaking on rescaling, the job opportunities, entrepreneurship, right, in the process of getting a new job. This is the bigger picture of it, right? So this brings me to my next slide, which says, quo vadis. It's a Latin word that says that, what next? After all this, what next? If it is to be, if I'm going to transition, if I'm going to become relevant, if I'm going to be someone of value, if I'm going to move into a new job, if I'm going to leave this stage of maybe I don't have a job or I want to be better, everything is still up to us. So I want to thank everyone for being here this afternoon. And I'll just quickly go to the chat section where we have questions. Okay, so trainer mentions the new normal. What is this new normal? If we do not understand what it is, how can we adapt and reinvent our professional skills? Great. The new normal is a word that was coined out just as we are living or evolving from COVID-19. That is, what was not normal before it has now become normal. That means the goalpost has changed. the reality has changed. So what was not normal before, like you go to lectures in class, you are now doing lectures via Zoom, you're now doing lectures via Microsoft Teams. There is now social distancing, like the first speaker who spoke, Andrea, she talked about people now, when they wanted to come back to church, and they said that, okay, you can go and hug or greet each other and people still stay where they are. So that is the new normal. But the truth of the matter is that how do we adapt and reinvent? It's about accepting that this is it. The first thing is just like somebody who does not have money, right? Or somebody who is in debt. The best thing is to ask yourself, how much is it I owe now? Okay, I owe 10,000 pounds. That is a reality. That is it. That is a starting point. I owe 10,000 pounds. The next thing is, what do I need to do to pay back this money and get out of debt? Rather than mourn or be complaining that, my life is this, my life is that one. It's better to accept that situation and now reinvent. And those are some of the things I talked about, the rethinking strategies, the reskilling strategies. When we go through all those processes, we will be able to reinvent ourselves. And if we need to move from wherever we're doing now to another field, like for example, tech is taking is across board now. Tech is not only like IT, but there is now IT in health, IT in education, IT in logistics, IT in travels. IT is cutting across everything. So the best thing is to ask ourselves, or whoever is listening, is within my space, what is IT doing here? Can I become relevant? Who are the best paid here? What do we need to have? Those are the things to do to reinvent our skill.
Yeah.
So the next question is
before you go on.
Right.
Yes. Because I asked that question, what is the new normal? With areas like is the 9-to-5 job, is it still going to be a permanent feature? Will 9-to-5 jobs go away? Would there anything be like a career anymore? People used to have 30, 40 years career. Is that gone? And once we have a clear understanding of what it is, look, you have to adapt every 5 years. Then I think more and more people will understand, okay, this is what's going to be, this is how the world is going to be, and they should be able to prepare themselves. If it's just like, okay, a few years' time, there's just going to be lockdowns and isolation. After that, everything's turning back, without understanding that actually the way we've been living for the last 50 years is no longer going to be like that. And then that's when people will have problems.
Absolutely. Now, let me just quickly address that. Remember, during my presentation, I talked about you doing a career SWOT analysis. When you do your career SWOT analysis, one of the things I suggested is pick whatever you are doing now and say that with IT in the next 5 years, because things are going to be changing rapidly now. So, for example, if somebody is maybe a medical doctor or a nurse or a barber, anything that we're doing, do a search and say that, what will the barbering industry be in the next 5 years? What will the real estate be in the next 5 years? If you do, for example, if you do the search for real estate, it will tell you that there will be more smart homes than what we have now today. So if there will be more smart homes in the next 5 years, the next question to ask yourself is, if I'm in the real estate field, how do I position myself now to be relevant for smart home enterprise? What are the things that constitute a smart home? What is the value chain in a smart home? There are so many things in that value chain. You now start asking yourself, where do you want to play there? Like, for example, someone who is in the teaching and learning space, you want to ask yourself, what will be the world of teaching and learning in the next 5 years? It's going to be more of e-learning, more of online learning, more of learning on demand solutions. So you ask, how do you play in that space? Do I know how to create courses? Do I know how to do curriculum development? Can I integrate IT into what I'm doing? Can this thing that I'm doing within the UK, can it service people in the US, in Asia, in Africa, right? And that is your market. And that is how you start to scale yourself. That while you're doing what you're doing now, you start positioning yourself for what the world is going to be. Because the truth of the matter is this, things have changed. And like you said, it is going to be evolving faster than we think of. So those are some of the things. And that is why, rather than allow ourselves to be carried away by social media and stuff like that, we should be taking time out of the noise, right? And do personal reality test, reality check, checking, doing SWOT analysis over and over again, and saying that you are actually well positioned to be relevant in the bigger scheme of things. So that's for that one. There's this question here. Let me see. The problem for many people is moving from employee to self-employed, then business owner and final investor, where money works for you by making more money. Is it a mindset, circumstances that causes this problem to exist? Okay, now, it starts with the mind first, that I can. Because if you don't believe that you can be a business owner, you will not. If you don't believe that you can be an investor, you will not be an investor. It will not even cross your mind. And so if you're earning maybe 2,500, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pounds in a month now, you want to ask yourself, do I need to spend all that money on living? Or I can create 500 pounds out, or 250 or 1,000, depending on what you can handle. Separate it over time, because there's something called delayed gratification, right? You can deny yourself now because of the big thing that you want to do ahead. And so collaboration is key. Collaboration is key, because there is this African proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with a team. And so we bring people who have like mind, who are thinking the same way. And that is why our company, the people we collaborate with now, is very, very important. If we check most people are in their late 30s, early 40s now. The first speaker is 40, right? So you ask yourself, where do you want to be when you are 50? Where you want to be where you're 60? It's not going to be, business usual that you work for 25 years and you now go and retire. No, you can be cut off from working anytime. So the best thing is to start putting something aside, no matter how small, right? And start putting it there, because when you start putting something aside for making a system, you will be creating a sustainable security for yourself rather than the job.